It's Dee Dee on the spot.
Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. Before I get to my guest here today, I'd like to remind everyone that if you enjoy this content, to please like and subscribe down below. We greatly appreciate it. We have Jordyn Getz on the show. She's a popular Instagram, just fitness inspiration. Everyone needs to go and follow her page. We'll leave a link down below. Jordyn, great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Hi.
So why don't you give us all a little bit of a backstory on what got you inspired into the fitness lifestyle?
Well, I basically lived in LA for a year and developed an eating disorder because I was going to acting school, and that was kind of the popular thing to do, is be skinny. So, yeah, I would literally basically eat an apple a day. I know that sounds like so cliche because like an apple a day keeps a doctor away, but really it brings a doctor in because an apple a day is not that much.
Yeah.
So I had the choice of, moving home from an eating disorder. And from that, my mom was a bodybuilder. And when I moved home, she was like, "Hey, can I help you?" And I was like, "Yeah, that would be awesome." I've always loved how she looked. And I always thought the way to get that way was to just be skinny. And apparently it's not. So she kind of took me under her wing, showed me the ropes.
So when you got into the fitness lifestyle, what was the hardest thing that you had to adjust to when first starting out?
Eating. I was like, this is so much food. They were like, I think there was one day where my coach was like, "I want you to eat 300 grams of carbs." And I'm like, I didn't even know that was possible. So, and now I'm like, can I have 500? But yeah, actually eating more was the hardest part because when I started, I didn't have to do cardio. All I had to do was lift weights, but lifting weights was fun for me. So it was just like, okay, no cardio, easy. Lifting weights got fun for me, and then eating had to be the hardest part for me then.
Did you find that your body responded really quickly, or was it more of a grueling process when it came to seeing results?
It was super quick for me because I was working out when I lived in LA. Just kind of the basics, but I still worked out almost every day. And then also I grew up as a dancer from the age of 3 to like 18. So my shoulders have always been pretty broad and my legs have always been somewhat in shape. So I think that it might have been easier for me than just like someone who's coming in who actually has to lose weight, because I just had to gain. And I'm short and stocky, so I put on muscle super easy. I'm only 5 feet, so I look bigger in my pictures. When people meet me in person, I'm not as big, but I just put on muscle a little bit easier by being short.
At what point did you really all of a sudden realize, like, oh my God, I can kind of sort of do this with my life. I can really just become an inspiration for people. Was it early on, or did it take a while?
It was early on. I actually started working at a gym when I was 15 years old, and I've always been around it, and I've always made friends with the trainers at the gym. It was kind of like a mom and pop gym, so I've always made friends with the trainers. I always like watched them, and then I started working out a ton, and one of the head trainers kind of took me under his wing and was like, "Hey, you could like do this." And I'm like, "Yeah, I can." So I think that probably within a year of lifting, I wanted to help others. And I think it's just kind of in my blood. As weird as that sounds, it's like became supernatural for me.
Was it hard? I like to ask a lot of health and fitness people on here. Was it hard when you had your beginner gains? And for everyone that doesn't know, your body tends to adjust better, and you get better overall results when you first start lifting because it's something new for the body. And then over time, you aren't going to experience that constant set of growth naturally, at least. Was it hard for you to adjust to that, knowing that after a while, you're not going to be able to put on as much as you had in the beginning?
I actually feel like each year I gain. Weird as that sounds, when I started, I was 40 pounds lighter than I am now. So actually each year I've been progressing in the beginning, but I guess you don't really realize that until you get to the end of it, because now when I look back at pictures, I'm like, oh my God, I was tiny. So for me, I don't know if I'm the opposite of most people, but I usually tend to keep what I have. If I want to build more, I just eat more. And so, like I said, my body's a little bit different because I am super short, but also I think the amount of years that I put in has just, I don't know if my body's necessarily adjusted. I still think there's tons of room for improvement.
Now, having two incredibly fit women in the family, do you and your mom ever get into competitions as to who's stronger?
Nah, we used to. In the beginning, I used to be like, "You're so much stronger than me," and then over the years, I like surpassed her like big time. Because when you get older, you just can't lift as much. I'm getting to that point. I'm getting to the point where like my joints are just like, "All right, slow down, Jordyn." But I think in the beginning I got competitive, and she just really wanted to help me. And then she was like, "God damn, you're lifting a lot of weight," and I'm like, "What's up?" So it's never been super competitive. It's been fun, but I think if anything, I would have made it competitive. But it's more of like now we just love helping each other.
Yeah.
So it's more about, for me, it's like, okay, we're helping each other. With friends, yes, I've got competitive.
I always wanted to wonder, what is that feeling like for you? Because, I mean, when people see you walk in, obviously, like you said, you're 5 feet tall, so people are probably like, oh, yeah, she's just another normal girl. And then when they see you putting up a lot of weight,
Yeah.
is that a great feeling then to see their faces totally change and they're like, oh my God, she actually is like really strong. She can actually lift. Is that kind of what you like to do when you're in the gym, trying to get that feeling?
If I'm doing squats or deadlifts, yes. It's kind of like a little ego thing, and I try not to be into my ego so much anymore because, like, seriously, my body's been through it in 10 years. Like, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I'm going to show these. It's not even about, like, it's going to sound weird. Like, I want to show the guys up. Like, I want to be like, oh, you can't do 225 for reps for squats? All right. But yeah, no, it's actually, God, I don't sound humble saying this at all, but yeah, it's a little bit of an ego boost.
Hey, I mean, you've worked so hard for that body. You don't need to be humble about it. I mean, people don't realize that hard work and dedication that it takes just to even look like that. I mean, I got started when I'm in college. I'm still a vast work in progress, nowhere near your level. But yeah, it is a huge time commitment. And how did your lifestyle adjust to before, when you weren't working out as much, to now? I mean, you work out all the time. Fitness and nutrition is a huge part of someone's life. Has it been a hard adjustment for you, or was it fairly easy?
I did work out all the time. The hardest adjustment is learning the body and how it works, because when I started, like I said, I did not have to do cardio. And over the years, my homeostasis has changed. So it's like now I'm a completely different shape than I was in the beginning. So the hardest part is adjusting my food and my cardio based on what I'm doing. It's been your body's constantly changing. I'm always learning new things about my body. So the hardest part has just been around like the diet, cardio, and all that. So yeah.
Have you done any bikini competitions or any bodybuilding events?
I do figure. I'm not quite tall and slender. I've got a really thick waist. Yes, I've done 3 competitions, and I'm actually training for one right now, which will either be November or December, depending on what my coach thinks.
What is your prep usually like? Is it what do you usually? How many weeks do you usually go into it? What is usually your target weight loss? Because I had someone on here a couple days ago who's talking about how they usually go through about 20 pounds every prep and then they regain it back. But what is it like for you?
I actually have not done a show in 5 years.
Oh.
No, it's been a while, but the thing is I like to say semi-close. I would say at this point, for my whole prep, I mostly need to, sometimes it's not even about weight. I would like to say I want to lose 15 pounds, but at the same time, sometimes you look better at a heavier weight, which is totally weird. But I say take progress pictures for that as far as like weight goes. But as far as my training goes, like I have to do the most. So the weeks for me, at this point in my life, I don't want to do a drastic cut because I don't think it's healthy. So for me, I take at least 20 weeks to do a prep for a show. But everyone's body's different. For me, I have to do a ton of cardio, and I have to like kind of just grind. Like grind for my body right now. And like I said, that's why I take a longer prep, because if I were to do a 12-week prep, I'd have to do double the work. And then if I came out of the prep, I'd have to do double the work. And that's not something that I think is healthy or want to do to my body. Mm-hmm. So I like to keep in that 10-pound range. And you can't necessarily do such a fast cut and then expect to keep that 10-pound range when you come out of it. Probably going to gain a little bit more.
Yeah. Have you found that it's hard for you to sometimes trim down? Because a lot of people, they're so naturally built. When you're trying to trim down for a show, is that found to be more difficult? Because when you put on muscle, it's a lot harder to sort of, I mean, you're not going to lose any muscle, but just to sort of trim it down. Has that been difficult for you?
100%. It's the hardest part. Like I said, now my body is completely changed from what it was. So I don't know where I'm going to be at with cardio by the end of this prep, but I'm already at a lot.
What is your motivation on those days? Because I've had those days too where you wake up and you feel like a zombie and you're just like, I don't want to do anything today. I screw the gym right now. What is the motivation for you deep down on those days to just say, you know what, just suck it up and pull through? Does it come from just wanting to achieve that end result, or does it just come from just saying, hey, we're just going to get it done?
It's more like, hey, we're just going to get it done. This is what I do is I set a goal. And I set the intention for the goal, I let it go, and then I do the work. I look back at pictures. I look back at pictures when I started prep. I think about like what I would say to a client or what my clients have done or what they're going through, and that kind of motivates me. But really, pictures are so motivating. That's what I tell people. If you can find a picture of what you want to look like, maybe an old picture of yourself, because really it takes me to look at a picture of myself to be like, oh, hell no, I'm not going back there. So I use me as a motivating factor. So, yeah.
So we talked about this earlier, but I saw you had an Instagram story earlier yesterday that I looked at where you're talking about still one of the big misconceptions that unfortunately goes on today. I mean, Instagram has helped it a lot with the rise of a lot of fit, inspirational people on Instagram that inspire people to lift weights, but there's still that misconception, especially among women, where if they touch one weight, they're just going to hulk out and they're going to, all of a sudden gain 50 pounds and there's going to be these huge monsters, but that's not even close to the case. What do you say to people when they come up to you and say that? Because I bet you've heard that plenty of times.
Oh my God. I think people are like, I don't want to be as big as you. And I'm like,
you won't be.
I'm like, first of all, it's been 10 years. So if you want to spend 10 years lifting heavy ass weights, yes, you will be like me. But, or maybe even not. Maybe your eating sucks. You might not be like me at all. But yeah, most people, I tell them what I've been through, and like, I show them when I started and I'm like, I was lifting weights here. I was lifting weights here. And I've gone through all stages of it, So, yeah, I really just tell them how much time I've been working out and how long it's taken me to look this way. Or else I'm like, you have to take steroids to get that big. I mean, let's be honest. But they all want this like toned look. And I'm like, what are you going to tone? Fat? I'm like, there's no way. You can't tone fat. So I'm like, you have to build the foundation, then cut from there. And they end up getting it, but they're still scared to lift heavy. And it's so funny because like, you basically have to show them, they have to show you who they want to look like. Then you have to be like, so like Paige Hathaway, I think she's amazing. Like I'll go to her page a lot and be like, oh, because she actually does lift pretty heavy. She kills it. And everyone wants to look like Paige Hathaway. And I'm like, all right, she's lifting heavy weights. She was squatting 225 the other day. What do you want me to say? She looks amazing. She's also been doing it for 10 plus years. Like, you are not going to get that big. So, yeah, I kind of have to, like, go through the backstory and then go through, like, all right, who do you want to look like? Let me tell you what they've done.
Absolutely. So, yeah, people just never understand the hard work. They always just, especially in today's day and age, they just want the quick results. They want the one pill that's going to make them all of a sudden look amazing. But I mean, it takes so much hard work and dedication. What would you say is the most popular excuse that you get from people that when they say, oh, I don't want to adapt to a healthy lifestyle or I can't, what is the biggest excuse you usually get?
I'm busy. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, I work a lot. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's like nurses who work 12-hour shifts who do this, or like, and they bring their meals to work, and that's 12 hours. They're like, there's firemen who do it, or and don't get me wrong, we all have days off, but at the same time, I'm like, it's all about consistency and really like just becoming used to a different lifestyle. And if you're not willing to start, then you're not going to get that. But you have to be willing to make an adjustment for it. And a lot of people blame time. And I'm like, okay, well, you had time to go out with your boyfriend or girlfriend the other weekend for 5+ hours. You had time to go buy alcohol and go drink. I'm like, but you don't have time to prep meals for 2 hours. Not even 2 hours sometimes, maybe 1 hour for the rest of the week. So I just don't want to hear it. I mean, we make time for what we want to make time for, as far as like, meal prep goes, relationships go, like anything in your life goes. You make time for what you want to make time for. I just think that's it. Or else if you're working a ton, then you better be making good money. So why not invest in a meal prep service? Health is number one.
Absolutely. So when it comes to your meal prep, a lot of people sometimes buy from companies that already have them prepackaged, or do you like to package your own meals? How does that work?
I do my own meals. I have enough time to, fortunately. So I basically go to Costco, buy a big bag of chicken, buy sweet potatoes, and seriously, turn the oven on, throw it in. It's done like hour, and then I'm good for the week. I actually am allowed to eat tortillas too, so my diet's pretty easy as far as like prepping goes. So, and most people's would be. It's just that people don't want to make a change when they say they do.
Mm-hmm. How do you deal with eating the same thing? A lot of people just complain about how eating chicken over and over, and understandably so, that they just have to eat chicken over and over, and it kind of gets stale after a while. Do you sometimes add a little flavoring to it? What things do you do kind of to spice it up and make it so that you aren't just feeling that same dull, oh my God, chicken again?
Well, I'm really boring. Okay, so I've been doing this for, 10 years. It's just something I do. So as far as like the fancy meal prep, I add salt to everything, and I use sugar-free ketchup. And if anyone has watched my stories and has said like, ew, gross, it's true. I use ketchup on everything. And then as far as making things tasty, like I said, I still eat tortillas, and my like sweet potatoes, I don't know if I need to, I'll use stevia. I use stevia a ton in things. Like I put stevia in my yogurt, and really, like, I'm not super fancy with my meal prep. A lot of people are, and that's why I don't show my food a lot, because if people saw my food, I like eating the same thing all the time because I know what it is. And it's not boring to me. Like, don't get me wrong, I want to go out every now and then, but then when I go back to my regular eating, I've learned what works with my body and what makes me feel good. So as far as that goes, I don't mind eating the same things that make me feel good.
Talking about going out, was it hard for you at first? Because when you do have this fit lifestyle, you usually can't go out and party with friends, or you can go out sometimes at least, but you can't really drink, you can't really indulge as much. Was that a hard adjustment for you?
I've never been a big drinker. It just never ran in my family as far as that goes. So I've never, and actually I didn't go to college, so I never had that party phase to my life. So as far as drinking goes, it might have been a little bit harder when I moved to San Diego, because it is such a party lifestyle here, and it's really hard to like date or do things without going and having a drink. So I think as far as that goes, yeah, it's tough not to drink, but at the same time, like, I think about how I feel when I don't drink, and I like that feeling. So like, I love waking up and being fresh, being able to do what I want to do. Don't get me wrong, like one night out is great, and I think everyone should let loose every now and then. But I just think about how I feel when I don't drink, and so it's never been super hard for me. And then as far as eating out goes, yeah, it's kind of tough not being like, hey, can I have like a bite of your food? But at the same time, like I said, you just have to think about what you're doing at this point. But there is something true to be said about balance and like making a lifestyle. It took me a lot to realize and be able to change my life in that way. It took me to travel to Europe for a month to be able to even just like experience just like letting go. And that's so important to learn, because bodybuilding is such a combined world, and there's so much more in the world to see. And like, people have to realize like, it's okay to mess up, and not even mess up. It's okay to enjoy life, but do it in a way that makes you feel good. So if you're going to regret it, then don't do it. But if you're not, learn how to have fun and learn how to live life, because that's one main thing I've taken out of this whole bodybuilding thing.
So being in this industry for 10 years, or at least being in the fit lifestyle, how would you say that, especially for women, it's evolved over the 10 years since you've started?
Oh my God, they've gotten bigger and bigger. I look at figure girls like way back when, and I look at figure girls now, and I'm like, I don't even know if I can compete in figure. Well, like I said, I'm short, so like I've built enough muscle over the years to be able to do so. But damn, I swear people are just getting bigger and bigger. But I mean, obviously bodybuilding's gone, physique is in. I think it's amazing. It's an amazing sport still. But yeah, the one thing I'm taking notice of is just like how different the physiques have gotten as to what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the main thing I've seen different. And then just the classes changing and like physique coming into play, classic physique coming into play. I think it's great that they've added more classes for men, though. Mm-hmm. I do think that's awesome because now men can compete not just in bodybuilding, which is kind of cool.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know about that. But when you're doing these competitions or prepping for them, obviously these judges want a quote-unquote feminine look, even though all muscle, in my opinion, is feminine, no matter what you look like. But do you find it hard sometimes then when you're working out where you're like, oh my God, I don't want this to get too big because then I wouldn't want to be judged, you know, as like too not feminine enough? Is that ever like entered into your mindset?
Yes. That is why I don't take steroids. To be 100% honest, I do love looking like a woman. And I think you can cross that line. I think we always want more and more and more when, I mean, it depends on what division you're doing. You know, for me, figure, and I started out naturally because that's what I had to do being a certain size. But like, yeah, they want the femininity, but like, it's easy to cross that line. And when I'm lifting, I don't necessarily feel like I'm not feminine, and I'm going to say like because the clothes I wear maybe. But no, there's some days where I'm like, oh my God, you're really big, like slow down. And then there's days where I'm like, oh my God, you're so flat, like what happened to all your muscle? And I think it's just more of mind games, but we're all going to lift on basically what we want to look like. So if you don't want to get bigger than you are, just stop lifting as heavy. Or if you want to get bigger, you might have to do some extracurricular activities.
Yeah. And this is absolutely. So this is coming straight from me. I'm 6'2", so I'm a little bit on the taller side. When it comes to clients that you do with who are maybe like super tall, what is your best piece of advice for them to put on muscle? Because like I've had someone on before who was around that height. It is a little bit harder for taller people to put it on just because the muscle's a lot more leaner. It's a lot more less. There's a lot more stuff for muscle to pop into. What is your best piece of advice for clients on how to gain muscle if they're really like tall?
Gotta eat more food. Mm-hmm. I mean, simple. You like the before and after workouts are going to be like the main stages that you're going to have to worry about. But like if you're having trouble gaining weight, I had a client who's not 6'2", but he's almost 6 foot. We literally had to like double his carbs. We had to add in a mass gainer, and that's just what it takes. But then you have to lift really heavy. So I'd say lower reps, anywhere from 6 to 10, and then each set you do have to maximize. Mm-hmm. And you have to make sure that you're eating enough food to fuel the muscle and also to replenish.
I got to say, my college cafeteria lunch ladies really had a field day with me after my workouts, just going in and devouring just everything that I saw on site.
Oh my God. They're like, we barely have enough for everyone.
Oh my God. Yeah. And I was doing cardio too and everything like that. Oh my God. Yeah. That was my field day.
Had to eat a ton of food.
Yeah. That's why I got that meal plan where it was, you just pay for, all the food up at once, so then you can just have as much as you want. You just pay it was like $100 so bucks for just the whole semester. It was a really good deal, but yeah.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I found out too when I really started lifting and really started getting bigger and stronger is that you're going to have a lot of friends that are going to ask you to help them move furniture. They're going to ask you hey, can you help me open these pickle jars or whatever? Have you found that to be the scenario where people all of a sudden just asking you hey, Jordyn, I'm moving some furniture. Could you come and help me out?
Yeah, or you're just in a situation where they're like, well, she's strong, she can help you. I'm like, yo, this is aesthetic. I'm like, I gotta save my joints, leave me alone.
I was gonna
No.
say sometimes it's good because you get to show off, but then other times you're just like, yeah, I just got done lifting. I'm not gonna help you lift your entire couch or whatever.
Right.
It's one of those things where I mean I'm up in Minnesota, so it's really nice where we always say you only have to look good 6 months out of the year because the other 6 months you're gonna be wearing a sweater anyway, so it won't matter.
Right.
But
Yeah.
do you find that I mean, especially living in California, do you find that extra added pressure to sort of look good year round because it's always sunny there and it's always gonna be nice out?
San Diego, yes.
Yeah.
When I was in Minden, Nevada, not quite, or South Lake Tahoe because it snowed there. But I think it's in my nature to just want to stay a certain way, anyways. But definitely being in San Diego has definitely changed how I look at my physique. But it's because you're around a lot of pretty people all the time, so you're like, dang, what do you do? You're like, I'm gonna do that.
All right, so now we go to our audience favorite part, our little questionnaire that we like to do. It's sort of like a getting to know you thing where I'll ask just some random questions and we'll just have a little bit of fun with it. So, what was the last TV show that you binge watched?
Shameless.
Shameless?
But I'm on season 8 right now. And it's just like the best show, hands down. Well, besides Gossip Girl.
Yeah. What is one thing that you can't live without?
Oh my God. I feel like that's so many things. I'm about to say a toothbrush. A toothbrush. I really value this part.
If you could teach one subject in school, what would it be?
Oh. Probably writing. I actually really like to write, or music. I play the piano, so music's super important to me.
Oh, wow. So what is your nickname?
Actually, I go by JJ. My whole family's called me JJ growing up. My my name's Jordyn James. So growing up, all my friends back from high school is JJ.
Okay, now this is a double-edged question. What is your favorite fashion trend of all time, and what is your least favorite fashion trend of all time?
Oh my God. I can't even right now. I love just a lot of things. I mean, thank God they brought like lifestyle to workout clothes because that's my line of work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the longest trend of fashion for me that I love are like my Tim boots. My least favorite, anything metallic.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah. Kind of going off of that, do you find it harder, especially having that be your job too, when it comes to like arranging what you're going to wear to the gym? Because I mean, I'm lucky where I'm a guy where I just literally just have to put on like a muscle t-shirt and then some pants and then I'm good to go. Do you find that kind of hard to sort of plan out what you're going to wear in order to, attract the following?
I've got it all in the back of my mind. I'm like, all right, today I'm wearing this top with this. And then I'm like, oh, I've worn that too many times. So no, I think as a girl, actually, it's pretty easy because we like kind of become accustomed to it. And we are shopping all the time.
Yep.
So, which is also kind of like annoying at the same time. Sometimes I'm like, I wish I was a guy because money. But
yeah, that's true.
But no, like being a girl, like, I think you just know and you're like, this top looks good on me. Or you think it looks good and then you take a picture and you're like, nope.
Yep. What is your go-to workout song?
Right now?
Yeah.
Well, there's this no-brainer mashup that I'm really digging. I can't get enough of the Biebs. And then my other go-to song would be my favorite song. It's called Real by Le Youth.
Oh.
And no one likes it, but I do.
Yeah, that's good. So, if you could train with one celebrity on the planet, who would it be?
Oh, man. I'm just such a huge fan of Paige Hathaway because I think she's just like real and a beautiful soul and just like works really hard. So I would say her. And to me, she's a celebrity because like, yeah.
Oh, she is for sure.
Hard.
Yeah.
Right? And
well, and I love her videographer, Lee. He was always really, really funny in all those videos that
really?
they did on YouTube. Yeah.
I don't even know. I just like, I look at her page every day. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. She's definitely huge in motivation. Now, if you could train any celebrity, who would it be?
I don't know. Let's just pick like a Kardashian because I know I
Yes.
get paid a lot.
Yes. Well, you could actually show them a real workout because I was just having my last guest on. We're always talking about those celebrities that post those fake workouts where they're doing like 2-pound dumbbell curls and they're like, oh my God, getting in at the gym.
so dumb.
And it promotes such a negative image of like how to really get fit because that's not their real workout. So yeah, put them through a real workout. You know, let them really sweat and show what it's like. That would be, I would pay so much money to see that show.
Right?
Yep. Now, what historical figure would you like to have a conversation with if you could have a conversation with anyone that's ever lived?
Oh, God. I wish I knew history better. I'm going to sound really dumb on this one. I don't know. I've always had like an infatuation with Judy Garland. Just because some of the like songs she sung, and then
She was born about an hour south of me.
No way.
Yep, in Minnesota. Yep.
Always like that song "Smile." Like I don't know. There's just some lyrics and stuff that I really enjoy, and then Wizard of Oz was one of my favorite movies. I feel so stupid saying this one, but that would be a person who I would like to like meet one day.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds.
Oh, absolutely. I totally get that. Now, if you could live in any period in history other than this one, what would you choose?
Man, these are not even things I think about. Kind of like maybe like the 50s.
Yeah.
Because whenever I see movies with them, it just looks like so much fun. And just like the dancing and the poodle skirts.
Absolutely, yeah.
You bring poodle skirts.
Absolutely. So now, if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Oh, man. Probably like be able to like, what is that called? Teleport?
Yeah. Teleportation. Yeah.
Yeah, I would do that. I think that'd be so cool because there's so many places I want to be all the time.
Absolutely. And then we got a few more left here, but what is one thing that you wish you knew at 18?
Oh my God. Just let it be and breathe, and that life is not so serious. We all like take it so seriously, and like go day by day, enjoy. If someone like wants to come in your life, let them come in. If they want to go out, let them go out. But be you, be authentic, and don't stress about what you're like. If you're not going to be worried about it in 5 years, don't worry about it now. But main thing for me at this point in my life is living a really happy, full life. And that means that sometimes things aren't going to go my way. And I'm inviting that open with like wide arms. Like, give me whatever, because I know that in the end, I'm going to be led to where I'm supposed to be.
All right.
And, you know, just to add on that, my favorite saying is that life is rigged in your favor. And if I would have known that at 18 and really believed it, I think I would have done a few things differently, but also things happen how they do because sometimes they just do, and it takes you to amazing places if you let it.
What is your spirit animal?
God. Oh my God. I don't even know. I'm trying to think. I'm not sure. I don't even know what to say for that one. I should know that, right?
Oh, no worries. Yeah, it's not one of those things that people think about all the time. I mean, I would say like I'm a wolf basically, but yeah.
I would say I'm like Pumbaa.
Yeah.
You know, like Hakuna Matata, and then I'm really a fat kid at heart.
And now, lastly for our questionnaire, what item would you die to get your hands on if it went up for auction?
There's so many things I want every day, and I can't even think of anything right now.
I was thinking maybe like you would get like Judy Garland's ruby slippers from Wizard of Oz or something like that.
Maybe like a Scotty dog.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds, I really want a dog, so maybe that.
I have a Cabochon, a Cavalier King Charles mixed with a Bichon. It's a little 12-pound dog. They got the biggest eyes and they got the big floppy ears. Yep.
How cute! Yeah, that would make life.
What is your favorite breed of dog?
Scottish Terrier.
Scottish Terrier. Yep, they're really, really cute.
Yeah.
Have you found that now kind of getting off the questionnaire part, have you found that it's been difficult, well, also like living in that warm climate of LA, but also LA is such a youthful place when it comes to everyone's always trying to look better than they really are. Everyone's always trying to project an image. Have you found that more difficult than, say, when you were living in Nevada to kind of sort of project that business-wise and just overall life-wise?
Yeah, I'm just not that type of person, to be honest. I just think about like all the materialistic things that people need, or like the status, and that's just not who I am. I'm from a small town, and don't get me wrong, I think living down south has changed me a little bit as far as that goes, but at the end of the day, it's like none of that shit matters. We're all gonna, as bad as this sounds, we're all gonna die. And like, it was so unimportant to me to just like have to show something for someone to like me. And I'd rather really invite people into my life who want to be around me because of who I am as a person and not for what I have. And it's very easy to weed out those people. So as far as that goes, maybe when I was younger, yeah, because I didn't know better. But like now, if I were to like live in LA, or like now that I live here, it's really not about that anymore. You know, it's about inviting good people into my life and the good memories that I want to make.
Have you found it hard, especially with the way that you look, that guys especially, it's kind of hard for them to kind of look past the way you look and really get to know the real person that you are, because they look at you and they say, oh my God, she looks great. Has that been difficult for you?
Definitely. I think it's really hard to date because a lot of guys see it, might have some alternative motive. And I'm just like, maybe I put off that vibe because of like pictures I post or how I look. That's not really who I am. But yeah, are we talking about like dating?
Well, yeah, too, especially like with guys, because like a lot of people, guys would see that and then they'd be like, "Oh my God, she looks so great," and then they might just be so mesmerized that they don't really get to know the real you. They're just thinking about, "Oh my God, she just looks so fantastic."
Well, so at this point in my life, it's been real easy to weed out those guys.
That's good. That's good.
Because I think, you know, like, okay, if you're not going to give it up, then either they stay or they go.
Exactly.
And, if you're going to go, no problem. There's 7 billion people in the world, 6 billion. I'm good. I'm good. Don't worry. I don't care how good looking you are. If that's the main motive, it's super easy to find. And that's another thing. Like, all these women stress one guys, and I'm like, meh.
Yeah.
On the next.
I mean, if it happens, it happens. You never know. I mean, just go with the flow.
You go with the flow, and then but you can kind of like, I'm old enough to know, and like, if you want to Netflix and chill, awesome. I want to go on a date, so you can get to know me. So absolutely. I don't know, just kind of. Yeah,
I always like to ask that, because especially with the whole fitness thing, there is still some guys that are like, "Oh my God, she looks like a man," even though that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And my response to that, whenever people say that, is, "Well, then what do you look like if she looks like a man and she looks bigger than you?" So.
Well, it's just really sad. Like, okay, you're not into her, but there's no reason for you to put her down or say the negative things about her because you're insecure with yourself.
Exactly. That's the one thing I hate about that, especially with social media. That's the one bad thing, is that it has brought out more people like that. But it's usually not even close to the vast majority. But when you get that vast amount of support that you get when you post pics or when you're training, what is that feeling like for you? Does that really motivate you to keep going?
Hell yeah. Like, I'll have some people private message me and be like, "Oh my God, keep working. You're doing great." Because there's some days where you just don't want to keep going. You know, like and especially for like me being this long, there's days where I'm just like, why am I doing this still? And like, when you have people say stuff, it's kind of like a reminder, like, hey, you're motivating other people. Keep going, keep doing your thing. And like, if I can motivate one person or even just make one person smile a day, that's enough for me to keep going.
So what does the future look like for you? Do you have, I mean, obviously you're preparing for a show. How long until that show happens?
That's like 11 weeks out.
11 weeks out, yeah.
So the future is very fuzzy. But I try and, just like I said, set a goal, then work towards it. Who knows what life's going to bring? I'm always super excited to meet new people and let new experiences and things into my life. But I think for the future, I don't plan on not personal training. I do plan on just being online for that. And then as far as competing goes, that's actually not something that I necessarily love doing. It's what I'm doing for now to help my current situation for my job. So as far as that goes, I just kind of go day by day. I think that I want to just impact people on a larger scale.
And where can people find you if they want to get a hold on you for some online personal training? I know you have your Instagram, which we'll link down below, but is there anywhere else that they can contact you?
So, yeah, JordynGettsFitness.com, my Instagram. I have a Facebook, but my main platforms are my website, JordynGettsFitness.com, and my Instagram. So those are the two places that most people contact me at, or my email, which is getsfit@yahoo.com. So either one of those.
Yeah, so you don't just do people from California since you do online. You're willing to take people from all over?
All over.
Okay. Yeah.
Totally.
That's great.
And I've always done online, so I know it works.
Have you found, I've always wanted to ask this for online people, have you found that it isn't, I mean, you still obviously are a great personal trainer, you can really like influence people, but not being able to like work with them in person to person, have you found that that's been sort of a bad thing about online training, or have you found ways to kind of overcome that?
Not at all. I have them send progress pictures each week. I'm available all times to them. If they have questions, I'm there to answer them. Have a Facebook group for it. Basically, the only thing is you're not getting that hour with me a week. You know, besides you, I mean, even for me, my coach, I just send him pictures weekly, go over what's working, what's not working, what I'm doing, and then we go from there. I've had huge success with online training for myself. So I'd say it's just as good as in person, or even better, because like if they have trouble with forms, send me a video, I'll send one back. And then we work with each other that way. So I don't think it makes anyone less successful.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, as long as you got people with the right motivation, anything can happen. And we can't thank you enough for coming on, Jordyn. I mean, it was really great talking to you. And again, everyone, Jordyn Getz, you can follow her at all of her stuff. We'll leave all the links down below. And even just follow her on Instagram. It's really inspiring. The stuff that she posts or whatever, they will get you to stop eating the Twinkies and start going to the gym more. She's a great inspiration, and obviously she's more than available for you if you need any help with your anything health and fitness. And we need more people like that in this world, the way that a lot of people are starting to gain weight. What would you say, lastly, for the last question, what would you say is the number one thing that people can do in order to slowly transition into a more healthy lifestyle?
I think everyone wants instant results, so they do drastic things. Hire a coach, take baby steps, make it a lifestyle, and then if you want to take it further than that, do. But I think it's important to start with being a lifestyle. Being able to see that you can get fit, living a full and happy life. And also, number one, investing in a coach has been everything for me.
Absolutely. That's great advice. And again, you guys, Jordyn Getz, follow her on all those things down below. We greatly appreciate having her on, and we wish her nothing but the best. And if you need anything for us promotion-wise or plug-wise, we want to plug your business, we'd be more than happy to. And this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the Spot, signing out. Have a great day, everyone.
Yeah.